morning team, how are we all? I hope you're all well, I hope you're having a nice day so far. Welcome back to another YouTube video. We're going to go through, as you've obviously seen in the title, a full day of eating on a rest day. Now, thank fuck we have a rest day. I've woke up feeling rather under the weather. I woke up yesterday and had such a sore throat. We had a leg session yesterday and I was even saying this to Charlie, like I was literally, after hack squat, I was literally yawning for every 5 seconds for the whole hour after I had hack squats, which is not ideal, but I think I'm actually due like a deload or devolume soon. Training has still been good, but I just get to a point that I know when I need to kind of pull back, and I think that's now. So yeah, we've got a busy day today. I'm going to take you through obviously every single thing that I eat in a day, but also I want to touch on a few things in regards to how to actually deal with rest days, alright, and tips that you can do to feel productive in a rest day, because recently I've had a few new clients and I've came on board and they're like, right Ben, I don't want to take as much rest days, I want to train 7 days a week, etc, etc, and I'm like, well, that's good that you're willing to put the work in, but rest days are important, and I'm going to take you through the importance of rest days, but also like things that you can do on your rest days to make sure you're still feeling productive towards your goal. So sit back, relax, enjoy. So time for meal number one. Quite a small meal, but a meal that I'm starting to enjoy more and more, especially as you've seen I put it in the microwave so I actually heat up the raspberries, so it's nice to have a warm meal, especially on a cold morning. Anyway, meal number one, we have 200 grams of raspberries, 20 grams of peanut butter, and we also have 50 grams of whey. I still, as I always have, use the chocolate mint from my protein. One thing I always try and make sure I do on my rest days, because I have like a lot less food on rest days, is I try and shorten my eating window. And that's something that I try and say to all my clients is if you're going to be hungry, if you can like prolong the time of you having your first meal. So obviously we got up this morning at like 7:45, but I'm not having my meal now, it's now 11:45. If you can eat between 7:45 and then bedtime, that's going to be better than eating between 7:45 in the morning and 11, obviously, because you're having the same amount of food but in a shorter space of time. So yeah, I'm going to put the macros on the screen with this meal. This meal is very simple, as it says, 200 grams of raspberries, 20 grams of peanut butter and 50 grams of whey. So one thing that I like to do on my rest days, obviously having more time on rest days than I do on training days, is try and like prepare some meals in advance. And that's something that I say to a lot of my clients, especially those who have full-time jobs or just in general busy life, or even just those who want to free up some time during the week, is try and set like an hour or so on a Sunday or a rest day, whenever it is, and just prepare some meals. So here we have today's chicken, tomorrow's chicken, and the next day's chicken. So per meal I have 150 grams of chicken. I have 2 chicken meals per day, 300 grams, quick maths. So I literally fire this in the oven. I will cook my rice for tomorrow, and then whilst I'm doing that I'll make my veg for my next again meal. So best bit of advice I can give you is just try and meal prep in advance. You can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of stress as well. So that is all of my meals for the next few days cooked. Chicken cooked, rice cooked, and my lunch and dinner for today cooked. So here we are for meal number 2, as you've seen there. But a little secret ingredient that I've actually just recently added in, those who follow me on Instagram might have seen it, but it's this stuff here. It's Skinny Sauce is the company, and I've seen it before. I've seen people using like the chocolate one and different sauces, but I was like in B&M and it said chip shop curry sauce, and I thought that actually sounds not too bad. Now I did post it on Instagram story and so many people gave me grief for it, saying it's fucking stinking, it's just like water. Now I do agree, it's not the same as curry sauce from the Chinese, alright, but literally my mouth's fucking soaking thinking about how good this meal is. It's proper nice. When you're not used to having Chinese's, Domino's pizzas, etc, etc, Things like this is absolutely fantastic, and I can smell it. So now another thing is I add into this meal, I'm going to get hate for this, is tomato sauce and curry sauce. Now, don't knock it till you try it. So we have 150 grams of chicken with some chicken seasoning, 100 grams of spinach and 100 grams of courgette, 2 grams of pink salt for sodium, 2 grams of low salt for potassium, a squirt of this and a squirt of tomato sauce. Now, remember when you were younger, well not so much younger, you still get them, but the Lucozade sport bottles have that that lid that if you empty it upside down, nothing comes out. But you need to squeeze it and it squirts out. So trying to put a little bit on this is very difficult because it fires over your plate and sometimes misses the plate, which is not ideal. But we're going to have this. We also have 20 grams of dark chocolate. I know this meal's not that big. People always say, oh, it looks like you're eating rabbit food. Yes, it is small, but to be fair, it's actually surprisingly satiating. Satiating basically means it keeps you fuller for longer. The protein from the chicken is going to take longer for your body to digest, therefore that keeps you full. Also, the fibre from the vegetables keeps you full as well. The fats will slow down the digestion of that food slightly as well, and it's good for getting a sweet tooth. So I'm going to enjoy this, and we'll catch you for the next meal. Hey, I hope you can still hear me. The reason I'm standing so far away from the camera is I actually got a new mic that I wanted to test out. You can see it here on my t-shirt collar. It's something that I wanted to do. Obviously, well, I'm saying obviously, 2 videos ago when I done like a full workout in the gym, a full pull session. If you've not watched it, go check it, I'll leave it up here. But just that workout in regards to, I was actually talking during my workout in between sets about how to set up exercises, what to think about, etc, etc. But the music was very, very overpowering. People I watch on YouTube, I don't actually watch too many people. TM Cycles, Josh Bridgman and AJ, they all wear these mics and their content is just so much more enjoyable. So I thought I would invest in them so you can let me know how that sounds. So I'm going to listen. I've not listened back to any clips at all. I've just set it up. I don't even know if it's set up correctly, but hopefully you can see and you will be able to see the improvements that I'm trying to make in regards to the YouTube. Anyway, in regards to the point of this clip, whilst I drink my coffee, I may as well just discuss coffee and caffeine as well. You're probably thinking like, oh, why do you have caffeine on a rest day, Ben? Shouldn't you use caffeine just for your training? I do both. Caffeine's going to be fantastic for getting you hyped to go train, yes, in regards to pre-workout, but also caffeine's going to be a fantastic tool to use when you're dieting, when you're hungry. Caffeine is an appetite suppressor, suppresses your appetite, and it will curb hunger slightly for a small amount of time until you reach that next again meal. So because obviously I'm getting more hungrier, whatever you want to call it, caffeine's fantastic to have. But in regards to the meaning of this clip, I want to sit down and just kind of discuss quickly just the thought process behind rest days and the importance of them. As I mentioned at the start of the video, like I feel a lot of people, as did I when I was younger, they find it difficult to not train. They feel like when you're not training, you're not being productive. Oh mate, like I could go to the gym, I could do this, I could do that. Your rest day is where you're going to grow and where you're going to recover. Alright, so please make sure you utilise that. In regards to people who struggle with being productive on your rest days, what things that I try and tend to do, by the way, sorry if you can hear the creaking, that's not this mic, that's my dad walking about up the stairs. In regards to being productive on rest days, I try and work a lot more. I have slightly more steps, so going a walk to break your day up. Even things like doing more stretching, more mobility work, because that's basically aiding your recovery to help with your training, to help you towards your goals, so that's going to help. But just think in your head, right, I'm not growing when I'm in the gym. Alright, you're not getting any bigger in the gym. Yes, you might feel it because you're getting a pump, but you're not. That's where you're breaking down muscle fibres, and you're only going to grow and repair that muscle when you're home, eating good food, recovering, sleeping well, etc, etc. Just try and think about that. Just try and switch off and relax, and I promise you, you're going to get better results. So I just wanted to clarify that, tidy up a little bit, and just rest days are important. So time for meal number 4. I actually did have a meal prior to this that I did not show you. No, I did not forget. We had meal number 1, which was the raspberries. We had meal number 2, which is the chicken and veg. Meal number 3 was literally gram for gram the exact same as meal number 2. So I will add up a total at the end in regards to my macros, and I'll add that meal in, but I was not going to show you the exact same meal. It's literally the same meal around dinner time, 5, half past 5, 6 o'clock. But this is my favourite meal of the day. I actually use the dog bowl for this because it's a rather large meal, which is good, and I'm going to actually say this is probably my favourite meal of the week. This is actually my first carb or the first time getting carbs today since like my post-workout yesterday, so it's fantastic to get some carbs. A few reasons: obviously I'm on low carbs, so we want to try and push carbs closer to bedtime to help aid sleep. Or when I have had a lot of carbs in the off season, I was very lethargic, very sluggish, so when I don't tend to have carbs during the day, especially at rest day, I function a lot better in regards to my mind, a lot clearer, I can get work done, I'm more efficient, which is fantastic. So the carbs, as I said earlier, will help aid sleep, and you could possibly say that they would help aid glycogen replenishment for the next again training session, going into that session. Yep, I'm going to enjoy this. We have 100 grams of porridge oats, 100 grams of raspberries, 40 grams of chocolate mint whey. I know you're probably thinking, it does not really sound that nice. Alex says it's fucking stinking, but I think it's absolutely fantastic. Even the smell of it's amazing. And to top it off, we have 20 grams of peanut butter over the top of it, and I can see it nice and melted. It's nice and warm, so I'm gonna enjoy this meal, and I will catch you for the last meal before bed. Finally, we are in time for our last meal. The blue light blocking glasses are on. They have been for a little while now. This is a meal that I would advise keeping relatively small if you can. Obviously, there will be a point in your off season that food's very, very high, that most meals are going to be very, very large, like mine were. Obviously, having like 700 and a bit grams of carbohydrates, it is going to be hard to have smaller meals. But right now, I am in a dieting phase. My food is extremely low. However, what I have done with this meal is actually I've broken it up. Instead of having it all in one bowl, I've actually split it up into 3 different sections that I'll show you in a second. Just to try and make that, did you hear my fucking voice here? Just to try and make that, fucking hell, my balls are dropping, sir. Just to try and make that meal look a little bit more in regards to food volume. Yes, it's the exact same, but obviously I can sit and have 1 bowl, then 2 bowls, then my chocolate is a lot better. So first off, we have 200 grams of frozen raspberries. I put them in the microwave a little bit, just to try and soften them, but it's very, very nice and they're very, very refreshing. It's weird because I like my raspberries warm in the morning but colder at night, not too sure why. We then have 200 grams of low fat or 0% fat Greek yogurt, probably one of my favourite protein sources, to be honest. It tastes very, very nice. And then to top that off, we have dark chocolate. So what I used to do is I used to add the Greek yogurt and the raspberries together, grate the dark chocolate on the top of it, which was very, very nice. But as I mentioned there, now I've got basically, it feels like 3 smaller meals, which is better than just eating out of 1 bowl. We also had 15 grams of whey in a shaker just to bump protein up, and we also had 5 grams of creatine as well, along with my supplementation that I take before bed, which I've mentioned in previous videos. So yeah, that's me wrapping up a full day of eating on a rest day. It is not a lot of food. I'm not too sure what the total caloric intake of today is. As I've put on the screen, every single meal I have given you my full macro amount for each meal. If you really, really want to know, which I know some people probably do, put it in MyFitnessPal, work it out, but don't bother telling me because it's irrelevant. It's dieting phase. Tomorrow marks the 10 weeks that we've been dieting. We have 2 weeks left. AJ wants me to finish the diet around the 7th of November to the 14th of November. So very, very exciting, and I'm more so excited to get some extra food in to just get that fullness back and just look a little bit leaner. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure you like it. Let me know what you think of this mic as well. I'm looking forward to, I'm going to record in 2 days time. I'm going to record a push session in the gym, take it there, trial it properly, but you can let me know what you think of it, and I will see you next week. Cheers, trips.